Hey everybody, and thanks for sticking with us as we figure out some technical difficulties. Thanks for joining us. We are starting the quarterfinals match of this 2021 Spring Fling. This matchup is between Aaron Dix on Sligh and then Phil Taylor on Blue Green Stifle Knot. I'm Michael Hoyp. I'm joined today by Flint Espel. Say hi, Flint.
Hi, everybody.
And we have our first deck on screen. We have the Sligh deck, and this, I believe, I guess I didn't do a card for card check, but I think it's just the same list that Aaron had played in the what was the name? The Premodern Eastern Championship that he was able to win.
I did do a card for card check, and it is exactly the same list.
Okay,
No
so
changes.
this deck has been serving Aaron pretty well. It seems like he went 8-0 in the Swiss, and things are looking pretty good for him. So I guess the biggest thing to highlight in this Sligh list is that there are 4 copies of Urza's Bauble. The theory behind that is it just makes your deck a little bit smaller. Basically, the last 4 cards of Sligh are not very powerful or just worse than the other ones, and it helps fuel Grim Lavamancer and Barbarian Ring. I'm in the theory, I'm not quite sold. I feel like there's times that it'll kind of bite you in the butt, but I guess Aaron has made some adjustments that there are a little bit more instant speed interactions than maybe I would play. So maybe that won't hurt him as bad. But it'll be interesting to see the Bauble in some action. What do you want to say about the Slide deck, Flint?
Yeah, I think I wasn't immediately sold on it either. I actually played against this list about 3 months ago when I was running the Greater Good deck, and I just outraced him. So I didn't really get to see it shine very much. But since then, he's certainly been putting up the numbers. And you're right. What do you play? Do you play Flame Rift? Do you play, more Sulfuric Vortex or Curse Scrolls or whatever? And so I think in theory it makes a lot of sense. I haven't modified my deck yet, my slide deck, to kind of tinker with it. But man, if you look at the numbers, he's certainly, doing pretty well with it. So,
Mhm.
he might be onto something here.
Yep. So Aaron with the 8-0, who is the higher seed he gets to choose to play, he's going to be up against Phil Taylor in his blue-green Stifle Knot deck. And I believe this is the same deck that Phil played in the Winter Blast, because I know I played him in the top 8, and I was promptly dismissed as he just rolled me over. So just in general, I would say one thing that the Stifle Knot decks have against the slide decks is they are pretty good pre-boarded. They are able to resolve a dreadnought pretty consistently. The red decks don't have much of disruption in their main decks, and the 12-12 is just something that outclasses all the red cards pretty much. So in terms of matchups, I don't think this is something that Aaron's excited to play against,
Yeah.
and I think the pre-boarded games are going to be difficult for the slide deck. And I guess we'll talk about a little bit more of sideboarding when we get to game 3, as the first 2 games will be without a sideboard. But I think I would expect the first 2 games to go Phil mulliganing aggressively for the Stifle Knot combination, which is pretty consistent. He has the Dreadnoughts, but then also 3 copies of Worldly Tutor. And so he just needs one of those 7 cards and then one of the 8 of the Stifles and Vision Charms. And the quicker he can put those into play, I think the better. So,
Yeah. Yeah. I think you're right. I was just going to add really quickly that first of all, I thought you were going to say the one thing this deck has that Sly doesn't is a 12-12 trampler on turn 1 or 2, but um, he can comfortably play a turn 1 Worldly Tutor and a turn 2 Dreadnought and still ride that to victory. He doesn't even have to mulligan into a turn 1,
mhm.
kind of the dream. So I think you're right. I think he's sitting pretty comfortably here in game 1.
Yeah, not only the timing, but you just know that there's no duresses, swords to plowshares, counter spells. Like if you have those 2 cards, they're going to resolve. So
Yep.
it's very relieving as a dreadnought player knowing that you don't have to like build up and say, okay, I need to get a daze or I need to get a counter spell to protect my combo. So you just get it together and then you have your 12-12 for show. So let's jump over to the match. If you want
Okay.
to let our players know that
Yep.
we will be starting. So we have Aaron Dix on the left with the slide deck. He will be on the play. And then Phil is on the right with our blue green Stifle Knot. Okay, so I'll pull up a card fetcher.
You want to do a poll?
Uh, no, we'll just leave it.
All right.
People can sound off in chat, I guess, who they're rooting for, who they think's gonna win. But
Sounds good.
So, Phyrexian Dreadnought. That will be the card I would expect to see in the first few turns if Phil is going to be winning.
All right. Looks like we're off to game number 1.
Right? Wooded Foothills. One thing I guess my deck photo doesn't quite do justice for Aaron's deck is it is quite blinged out. There is a lot of foiled options, and I know he had talked about he foiled out. I think it's Urza's Bauble, like with a custom altar. So I don't know if he has those back yet, but that'd be interesting to see.
That'll be pretty cool to see if he's got them.
All right, Pup on turn 1. That's the start you want to see out of the Sligh deck. But if it has to face down a 12/12, then the little doggy is not happy.
It's gonna face down the goose.
Right, Nimble Mongoose. Are you happy to trade here from Phil's perspective if he's attacking with Jackal Pup?
That's a good question. I mean, it's gonna be a while before he gets threshold. So, well, Aaron just doesn't attack in. Actually,
It's interesting because I guess like when does it get better to like? I mean, maybe you figure if the Dreadnought comes down, you're losing that game anyways. But I mean, all right. So here we have an Undiscovered Paradise and a Careful Study. So unless there's a Lotus Petal in this turn, there won't be a Dreadnought. But Careful Study actually might accelerate the process of getting Threshold. So
certainly.
I guess there's going to be 3 cards, but it still would be a number of turns, I would think, before this Nimble Mongoose becomes a 3/3. All right, are you attacking now?
I mean, I think
Okay.
I think I am. Yeah. I mean,
He's still holding back with the Jackal Pup. Interesting. I guess I mean like when is that Jackal Pup going to be able to attack then?
I don't know. Chat, chime in here. You attack with the Jackal Pup?
I mean either the Nimble Mongoose is going to be a 3/3 or he's going to have a 12/12 in play. I just don't see the situations where
Yeah, it doesn't get better.
yeah.
It looks like it's filled down to 16. I think he took a point there to cast the Worldly Tutor.
Yes, that's correct.
Yeah.
And that will get the Dreadnought on top. So I would expect a Vision Charm or a
I think
Stifle.
Aaron's praying for a Vision Charm. Well, I guess it doesn't really matter in his deck. But being
Yeah,
able
he
to
he gets
not have
attack
a
maybe.
blocker,
Yeah, he
right?
gets to attack one more turn.
It
There's
is
a
a
Stifle.
Stifle.
Okay.
All right. Aaron, you have 2 turns to deal 16 points of damage.
Yeah, and with so Incinerate. Okay.
There's 3. Only 13 more to go, Mike.
He definitely needs to hit a mountain. Like I think his Fireblast is probably his way to deal that much damage in this amount of time. So if he's missing his 3rd land drop, he won't have 4. Oh, well, Jackal Pup is not the card.
No.
I want to see.
No. He could draw a Bauble.
Yeah, that would I guess be something even more awkward.
You know, I know we'll talk about this in a minute, but it's interesting. I was looking at Aaron's list and wondering if he's going to bring in the Price of Progress. I think it's probably just better strictly than like a Curse Scroll or something. So like in this situation, that would be a cool 4 damage from 1 spell. It probably wouldn't matter. But Phil does run a lot of basics. So just something to consider.
Yeah,
Obviously with this board state, it's decent.
yeah. I don't know how consistent that Price of Progress will be,
I
but
know, right? Sometimes it's great and sometimes it's just a completely dead card.
yeah, because I think Phil had 7 islands and 1 forest, and then 4 fetch lands. So there are,
Yeah.
and I think it's just 2 Undiscovered Paradise and 4 Yavimaya Coast.
Yeah.
There's really not that many.
And Phil can play around it too in game 2.
Well, the Dreadnought attacks, and so I mean, I guess this is kind of where I wouldn't say shields are down because obviously the Nimble Mongoose is still there, but and now another one joins. But
Yeah.
I guess maybe Aaron's plan was to try and poke through enough damage because here's a shock, deal 2 damage.
So if he has
Also,
2 bolts and a fire blast, he can win, right?
yeah, yeah, he doesn't even need that much. I mean, well, okay, so these, I'm guessing these Jackal Pups are being blocked, and then you're gonna take basically 4 for the Mogg Fanatic, so you get on to 7. So it's just 1 bolt and 1 Fireblast. So I guess it's a lot closer than maybe I gave it credit for. Though, well, I guess I say things like Stifle might change it, but Stifle still makes Phil take a damage.
He takes it all.
That that can't be right. No, the life total hasn't changed.
Aaron's just gonna scoop him. He didn't have anything else.
Okay, but yeah, that was I guess a lot closer than maybe I would have thought. But okay, so the Dreadnought player, kind of as expected, but I guess the way the game played out was a little bit different. Let's While the shuffling, well, let's look at the list. We know there won't be any sideboarding, but we can kind of maybe get an idea of what's going on just in this match again. Yeah, I
This
don't
is
know if he. I
this is
mean,
best of 5, right?
yes, that we are playing a best of 5. Uh, I don't know if how much that game would have been different because if he attacks the Jackal Pup, I'm gonna assume that Phil would have blocked right away, and so the Jackal Pup doesn't even get in for more damage. So I don't know. Yep, those are foil pups. I think there was a promo pup, isn't? And there was foil fanatics, right? Like
Yeah.
those are. I think Urza's Bauble was like the only card in his deck that I think he like had physically altered. I think the other ones are natural normal foils. But yeah, this Sligh. I mean, Sligh is just a potent threat. I mean, I guess one card I've always really liked. I guess it's not good in this matchup anyways. Is Sulfuric Vortex.
Yeah.
But like I almost like 3 to 4 copies. There's one more on the board, so you can have up to 3. But that
With
card always seems like very powerful in the Sligh list that I played.
Yeah, agreed. I think 3 main deck is what I run, and then one in. I haven't historically ran one in the board, but in a lot of the matches where I've lost, it's been to the Rock because of Ravenous Bailoff.
Mhm.
So, I think you maybe running a 4th in the board is not a bad idea. It's so tight in the sideboard for Sligh, right? Do you run more lava darts? Do you run more Price of Progress? Are you worried about dreadnoughts, right? I mean, because they can just shut you down. So, is it more like an overload, or what's the other one? Is he running Crash?
Crash. He's got both. He's
Right?
got both.
Yeah.
So,
I think we'll definitely see those overloads and crashes come in.
yep. Yeah, it'll be interesting. I haven't seen Crash actually played, but I mean, I have to think that this is the matchup in specific that it is put in the board for.
Yeah.
So yeah, I mean, in terms of the blue green Stifle Knot deck, it just seems pretty well set up against Sligh. Like the threats of Werebear or Nimble Mongoose coming down either to apply pressure or to just save some life totals, like by blocking. But then yeah, it's just very consistent at putting the Dreadnought into play. But
Yeah.
I'm gonna jump over here. Looks like our players are pretty close to getting started, so
Yeah. It looks like they're off to the races.
all right, we got a Grim Lavamancer.
So an island and a petal here from Phil. We're going to see the dream. Uh oh. Oh.
All right, yeah, that's a good
Seems
start for Phil.
good.
Dry Cereal's asking about the players. So Aaron actually made his pre-modern debut last year in the Spring Fling, in which he
Yep.
played Sligh and he top aided. So he kind of made his anniversary, and I mean, he enjoys playing the red deck, and though I think he sometimes feels guilty about playing it because it is very consistent and powerful, but he brought it back and is doing very well with it again. So
Yeah.
that would be a little tidbit against um, for Aaron. But I guess for Phil, I can't think of any facts other than like I mean I know I've played him a number of times in top eight matches. I think we are. If it's just been, I think we've played more than twice in top eight matches, but maybe it's been more. But we're split 1-1. But he beat me with this blue green Nought deck. I was playing my Fling a Togglist, and I did not have very many interactions with a Dreadnought, either pre board or post board. So I was quickly beaten. All right, so down to 8.
Yeah. Yeah,
So
we were joking around chat before the match, like who's the bad guy in this match, and they both kind of are, to be fair. I don't know what your take is, Mike.
yeah, I mean, I think, I mean, if you would have asked me a year ago, it just would have been Sligh, and like Stifle Knot would
Yep.
have been like the good guy. But Stifle Knot has just been like a dominant deck and kind of a boogeyman in some sense. It it's a gatekeeper in some senses because you have to be prepared for the potential of a quick dreadnought, and it kind of limits what decks you can build and play in pre-modern. And so I think that kind of gives it the nod that it is a bad guy. So yeah, I don't know who's
Yeah,
the good guy in this matchup.
I think they both are. Yeah, Aaron's going to scoop him up. Yeah,
Yeah,
I agree. A year ago, it would have been the other way around, but every deck is, well, not every deck, but a lot of decks are jamming the Dreadnought combo now. And I think these are both two decks that kind of keep the format fair in a sense. Like you have to be prepared for them. And not a lot of people have been running Sligh more recently, or at least doing well with it. So I think people have perhaps forgotten about it, or maybe something else is going on. But it's nice to see that, the fun police are still still doing their thing, because you really do need to consider these two decks when you're deck building in this format.
all right, we got sideboard for Sly. Cards that look good. 2 Overload, 2 Pyroblast, 2 Crash. I'm for sure bringing those in. What cards are the weakest?
I think Curse Scroll and Sulfuric Vortex.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yep, that's fair. So that's 4 cards. You want to take 2 more cards out to start? Is it Volcanic Hammer? Is
I
it
mean,
Shock? Is it Incinerate? Is it Mogg Fanatic? Is it Urza's Bauble?
oh man. So what are you're bringing in, what, the Pyroblast as well, right?
Yeah,
Okay. So I think you probably take out, do you take out Lavamancer? Maybe Jackal Pup, actually.
I don't take out Jackal
I
Pup,
think it's
but
Lavamancer or Jackal Pup is probably what I would take out.
I don't know. I always want
Yeah.
Jackal Pup on turn 1. I mean,
I mean, if you can jam it, great. It just seems like the Werebear or the Mongoose is likely to come down if a Dreadnought's not coming down.
I
And
mean, I would just trade those. I mean, like I don't know. That's my opinion,
I,
but we'll see. We'll see. I think in the past Aaron has boarded out Jackal Pup, so that might be his plan. Let's look at Phil's deck. So there are 3 Hydroblasts. I have to imagine those are coming in.
probably.
Is anything else like really apparent? I mean, maybe a 4th Worldly Tutor, just to be more consistent with the combo. Because there isn't cards like I guess there's Pyroblast, but there's no hand disruption or whatnot. So like getting the combo together. I guess there's the crashes and the overload. So, but making your deck a little bit more consistent. Like you could probably take out a card like Rushing River.
Yeah, I think the Winter Orbs can be good in against some red decks, but I don't think that's where he wants to be in this match. I think he just wants to probably get these games over with as fast as possible before Aaron can draw into enough burn to close it out. So I think he boards out the Winter Orbs and the Russian Rivers for 3 blasts and a tutor. I don't know what you think.
Yeah, that seems good. I'm just trying to think if there's a place for any of the other cards. Yeah, I can't really think of anything. So players are still shuffling up. So we'll just leave this up on screen until the players
Okay.
are ready. But I think, I mean, things definitely get better for Aaron because he at least has some interaction that's meaningful. But I mean,
Yeah.
Phil kind of does in the same sense. He's bringing in 3 Hydroblast. But do you think? Do you think it's closer to a 50-50 matchup in the post-border games, or do you think Phil still has a significant edge?
I think it's probably closer to like a 40-60 or maybe like a 55-45, but it's just so swingy. I mean, if the ideal hand for Phil, right, would be a turn one Dreadnought with a Daze backup, right?
Hmm.
Um, or a turn two with a Daze backup or something like that. I don't think he can afford to necessarily tap out now to play a Dreadnought, so he's got to play a little more cautiously, which then again can open the door for Aaron. But I do still think that Phil is favored,
It'll be
variance
interesting
aside.
interesting to see the dynamic with Days. Like obviously the deck lists are public, but Aaron might be he might wait a turn to play around Days if if Phil is playing the combo with a Days backup and Aaron would have to tap out. He might just wait and like untap and then do it to play around Days.
Yeah,
So it'll be interesting to see if that comes up and then like how the players respect it and then will that impact how the players sideboard going forward. I mean, you don't really have that many other options to bring in. It's not like you can bring in a more impactful card, but like if Aaron is playing around Days the entire time, then maybe it's just not worth having it. Though, I mean, I guess I'm just thinking it from a perspective of Days just on like the removal spell for the Dreadnought combo. I mean,
mhm.
Days will still like might get you like a Fireblast or something, or unlikely to get a Fireblast, I guess, but a Ball Lightning or some situation where Aaron's just has enough burn spells and the Daze catches him off guard. So
Yeah, I was actually thinking about Ball Lightning with the sideboard stuff because it's so bad against cards like Daze, but I think just that the opportunity of being able to deal that much damage is still worth keeping it in.
it
But
is
Daze is just such a good card in this match.
it is kind of awkward too that like I mean I guess if you think if your opponent has resolved a Dreadnought that you're losing anyways, but it'd be kind of funny like your opponent just plays a 12-12, the Ball Lightnings in your hand don't look very good.
Yeah, they really don't.
So if you're Phil and like you play a Dreadnought and Aaron just plays a Ball Lightning and attacks, do you just snap block? Is there or are you like thinking about it?
That's a good question. I mean, it would depend, I guess, right, on how many cards Aaron has in his hand.
Like, would Aaron be willing to trade Ball Lightning, Fireblast, and like one other spell to get rid of a Dreadnought? Probably. So it would be
Probably.
interesting. I did not see the players mulligan at all.
Yeah, I didn't see it either.
All right. Well, we see a Jackal Pup. So
Pop, pop, pop.
talking about sideboarding, things might change on the player or the draw for the players. Like a card like Jackal Pup is better on the play, but I mean, it's I still like it on the draw too. But
So he runs out his pedal here, which is
I
interesting.
I mean, do you think like Aaron is gonna like crash
I don't think he's
or
going to, right?
overload a Lotus Petal? I mean, I don't
But
think.
he's revealing information too, right? So like if he's got the combo and he's just waiting to have like Hydroblast backup or something, and so he wants to have two lands and a pedal, I still don't think I would run
Uh,
out the pedal.
you're representing counterspell.
That's true.
I mean, I don't know what you would need to
Yeah,
counterspell on turn
on
two,
turn two.
but that would be also here. Like if you're, well, I guess you're not getting Hydroblast. You're Worldly Tutor Hydroblasted. I'm trying to think of a situation. Yeah, but or if he has something like two Hydroblasts. So Worldly Tutor is going to find a Dreadnought. So in,
Seems good.
in the sideboard games, it's less likely that uh, the Dreadnought will come down right away because Phil might have to wait and say, okay, I'm going to try and find a spot where I need to protect it. But
Here it is. So I'm guessing we're seeing um, Hydroblast backup and potentially Daze as well.
would you ever make any consideration in the spot to? I guess no. I was gonna say like to use the Lotus Petal so that you did have Island untapped, but I guess that doesn't make sense. It's not like you're gonna be crashing on the Lotus Petal and then.
Storm count here. No. All right, so there's the crash.
Yeah, I think there was one damage from the Yavimaya Coast to cast the Worldly Tutor, and then the he didn't take any damage this turn because he used the colorless for the Dreadnought. I think Phil is at 17. All right, we see a crash. Bring that one
Yep,
up.
there is the blast. Are we going to see a blast on Aaron's side? He's got 2 mana. Nope. Dreadnought phases out. Incinerate. Okay, so we might see another quick one. This might be a quick 3-0. Aaron's been on the play every single game, too.
Yep. So, I mean, I guess given that Aaron just doesn't have that many other pieces of interaction, I'm trying to think like you have to expect like Phil to if he's playing like that you have like a red elemental blast or or a pyroblast or something, some kind of protection.
Yeah.
But Aaron just if you only have one piece, then I guess you might have to go for it there.
We see the Bauble. Does it
Yeah.
look foiled to you from here?
No. Well, I mean, the thing about the slide deck is it's kind of what you're doing is you're applying pressure and like you're saying I'm just operating on this axis. I'm not devoting any cards to interact to combo decks, and that's I mean that's the main weakness, the main vulnerability of the slide deck. Because otherwise, I mean, otherwise the deck I think it would just be the best thing to do all the time because
Yeah.
it's consistent, it's powerful. I guess the other there are sideboard cards that are really good against Sligh, but if you're not going over the top of the red deck in some way, then you're probably gonna have a bad matchup against it.
You're going to have a bad time.
Yeah, I mean some decks like the Rock aren't necessarily like going over the top of it and do have some interaction, but in general, I think this is like the vulnerability of the red deck. Okay, we got a Werebear. He's just a 1/1, but actually there's like 4 cards in the graveyard.
Yeah.
I mean, I don't think he'll need to become a 4/4 to matter, but
He just needs to block a pup. So Aaron's going to take a point here from his own land. It's not really going to matter at this point. So
there's
Incinerate.
Incinerate. Okay, Phil goes down to 9.
And we know that Phil has 1 unknown in his hand. Is it the Daze? Aaron's got 2, perhaps. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 in the graveyard. So attack with the pub first, potentially get the 7th card, but again, still, it's not enough. Captain Rogers, yeah, it's best of 5. This is game 3.
All right, we got a Bauble.
All right.
I mean, I'm trying to think of sequences of draws that pretty much I think you need to drop Crash or Overload with this Bauble. Because like I can't think of like a sequence of burn spells. Because usually the ones I'm thinking it would involve Fireblast, and that's not an option given that he has Barbarian Ring. So back up against the wall for Aaron, and things do not look good.
So do you attack here with pup?
Yes.
Yeah, I mean, I think I do. I could do that first and see. He just scoops him up. He doesn't try to bobble into a crash or anything.
Yeah, I don't. That doesn't make sense to me. But
Huh.
all right, let's jump over. Let's see if we can listen to the players and see if
Okay.
they are talking about the match.
There were so many times where that was just like sometimes with this deck, actually a lot of times with this deck, it comes down to a couple points. And there were a couple of these where it was like you're just a couple points on the wrong end of it instead of the right end of it.
Yeah, but I think my hand in both game 2 and 3 were like everything I could wish for.
Yeah, I mean, that deck does that though. I mean, that's why you play it. Well done.
Yeah. Great games.
Absolutely.
I will unmute them.
I have done the same.
Okay.
Hey guys.
Hey guys.
Howdy.
Hey.
So the first two games I think were pretty much what we expected. We expected that the blue-green Dreadnought would just find its combo and put it together. The sideboard games I think is where potentially there might be enough for Aaron to do to come back. But yeah, given that Phil, you have a number of ways to still interact with his things that how do you feel about the sideboard games, I guess? Like, do you feel like they're close, or is it still just pretty lopsided?
I think they definitely get better for Aaron. But yeah, my hand in game 3 was like everything I could wish for. I had a Worldly Tutor, a Vision Sham, and a Hydroblast in my hand.
Yeah.
So I think that's pretty tough to
Seems
handle
good.
for the Sligh deck.
Yeah, I was figuring if you had a Daze, I could handle a Daze, but I didn't know. Like the one card that gets me there is the Hydroblast, and sure enough, like, gosh.
Yeah, I think if you have a Pyroblast in addition to the Crash,
yeah,
you might get me there, but yeah, that's kind of unlikely.
Right. That's kind of the thing is to stop Stifle Knot. A lot of times you need like double hate cards in your hand. Like, they have just enough answers.
Yeah, I mean the blue decks usually do a good job of shaping a hand where they can at least protect it once. All right, yeah, I mean that would seem pretty straightforward. It was a little bit brutal for you, Aaron. So
it's okay. I was due. I feel like it's fair.
So.
Yeah, you probably were.
I've dodged this matchup enough times lately. I know that this one's a rough one.
Yeah, but I mean, as far as sideboards go, I think you have more cards than I think most of the red decks that I've seen. Like you have overloads and crashes, so like 4 copies of that, and then a couple of Pyroblasts. Where I think usually I just see some number of Pyroblasts. Sometimes I see overload, but I've not seen people play crash.
I feel like so there's two. I could go 2 different ways on the sideboard. I could sell out, which I've done to try to like shore up a really bad matchup. Because I mean, Stifle Knot is a bad matchup for Sligh, and especially the blue-green version with the Mongoose. Like that's really tough to try to play around all of that. I think the other way is just like load up against things that are good against the rest of the meta, and just like hope you don't run into that one. Hope you can dodge it. I think I've dodged that one a lot lately, but blue-green Stifle Knot specifically is like, ouch.
Yeah, I think that's one of the main draws I think to the Dreadnought decks is you're very good against the red decks pre-board. You, I guess the problem is in Swiss games, you don't know that you're playing against Sligh a lot of the time. So like here in the top 8, like you know you're playing against Sligh, you know you can just mulligan for the combination of Dreadnought and Stifle, and you know there won't be counter spells or Swords to Plowshares or Disenchants to prevent it. So yeah, it just makes the deck that much more powerful when you know that you're playing against Sligh games 1 and 2.
Well, and Phil, you started off, you were hesitant to keep your opening hand from this, but your opening hand I thought was great against a Sligh deck, even with none of the Dreadnought combo in it.
Yeah, in game 1 I actually had my opening 7 was like 2 Mongoose, a Werebear, a Careful Study, and a Stifle, and 2 lands. And I think that's totally fair against Sligh, because I can find a Dreadnought in the Careful Study, and even if I do not, I still have 3 creatures which can reach threshold really fast. And yeah, I think that's a good plan also.
That was arguably the closest game too, I think, to be fair.
Yeah, my hand in
talking
game
about
2
that.
was like no brainer. So I had like turn 1 Dreadnought in my opening hand, and there's no way I'm gonna lose this.
Yeah.
Yeah.
All right, cool. Do you guys want to add anything in terms of what you played against in the batches of the Spring Fling, or are there any cool stories that you have?
Yeah, so I lost my very first match against the Rock in a really close game, but I think that's pretty much my worst matchup. Maybe beside Landstill, which I also played against in the second batch, and this was a really close game. So I added 2 Winter Orbs in my main deck, which were really good against Landstill and helped me a lot. But still, this matchup does not feel great.
Mhm.
And the rest, yeah, many times I just caught people by surprise with the early Dreadnought, and they had no answer for it. And yeah, I think that's what Stifle Knot does.
Yeah, for sure.
So really quickly, chat wants to know, Aaron, in the last game, why you didn't sack your Bauble and try to draw into a crash or an overload.
Yeah, I guess I could have done that. I was looking at what I needed to get to lethal, but I guess I could have gotten to the removal. I think at that point the board state was close to done. I was looking at, I needed that was one of those clunky Bauble moments where I needed something else instead of Bauble. And yeah, there was a chance that there was still one of the hate cards on top, I guess. I guess I did not look.
Fair enough.
Okay. All right, cool. Well, I guess that will wrap up everything. It was a quick match, unfortunately for Aaron, but
Hey,
well done on the Swiss rounds. But yeah,
Absolutely.
the mighty Stifle Knot brings down the Sligh deck. So I guess you won't be taking down your back-to-back major tournaments. So
I'll
Sorry
be all
to
right.
be the party pooper here.
No. That was a lot of fun.
we were debating who the bad guy in this matchup is, and I think we came to the point that both Stifle Knot and Sligh are the bad guys. Kind of.
Both of you. Both of you.
So
double bad guys. Well, good luck.
How
Phil.
can a green-blue deck be the bad guy?
Yeah, I mean, I guess
I'll give you 12 reasons.
Yeah.
I'm not even playing Stasis.
Well,
No,
neither is Aaron. So
That's for sure. Now at this point, that is the bad guy moving forward.
Yeah.
Stasis is Stasis and Ron. That's your bad guy now.
All right.
Yeah, definitely. Yeah.
All right.
Phil, best of luck beating all the bad guys that are left.
Thank you so much.
Have a wonderful rest of your tournament.
All right. Cool.
Yeah, good luck, Phil.
Thanks, Aaron.
Have a good one, guys.
All right.
Thanks, guys.
Thanks everyone for tuning in. I think we are going to be figuring out. I'm speaking with the other quarterfinalists of when we are going to get our matches scheduled. I think there might be another one later today. So I'm gonna try and see if I can get everything ready on my end to stream as many of those as possible. So sit tight. I'll make a post on Facebook, but it might be a short notice. I know I just spoke to the players a couple nights ago, and I think they're trying to get their matches in this weekend, especially if any of them are crossplay. I think one of them already played, and it was early enough that I didn't wake up. So sorry about that. But so there might be more matches later today. Otherwise, maybe even this weekend. And I think another one is looking to schedule to be played on Monday night. I think potentially. So I'll keep you guys updated. But thanks for tuning in. It looks like we had a follow towards the end of the match. So be your guard. Thank you for the follow. But we hope to see you soon, and we will continue the coverage of the Spring Fling Top 8. So thanks, Flint, for joining me.
Yeah, thanks for having me.
And until next time, guys, take care.
Bye, everyone.